Welcome to the Glam Latte Beauty Podcast. I'm Jamie Walsh, a makeup artist and beauty creator, and I hope you'll join me while we talk about all things relevant to being over 40, including beauty, dating, wellness, and more. Welcome back. This week, we are doing a Makeup Monthly. This is a beauty podcast after all. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jamie. This is the Glam Latte Beauty Podcast, but we talk about more than beauty here. We talk about dating. We talk about all things over 40, wellness, all the things. And today we're going to talk about makeup, beauty, skincare, all of those types of beauty topics. We're going to start with kind of a catch-up. I haven't really talked about makeup here in quite a while since we took a break. Things have changed for me. My makeup preferences have changed. The products that I lean on has changed. And of course, in a year and a half, so many new products have come out. So let's first talk about my makeup preferences. It's funny because when I first launched this podcast, I can remember recording an episode and saying, how much I loved matte full coverage foundations. How I was like, give me all the coverage, give me all the cake. And it's so funny to think back to that because, no, I'm not about full coverage at all anymore. And I definitely am not about the cake. For me, my base is really more about glowy skin. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see how freaking glowy my skin is. And medium coverage. I want enough coverage, but I don't want it to look heavy. I really want my skin to look like skin, but also be flawless at the same time. So I'm not looking necessarily for sheer, but I think light to medium or medium to light, like probably more on the medium side. Or light buildable is fine for me too. I definitely prefer cream products. And I think once upon a time, I was like, cream products? No, nobody's got time for cream products. But I think I really just didn't understand them as much as I do now. And now I can't imagine not using cream products. Like they just look so much more youthful and skin-like and beautiful. Now, I do use powder, but I usually use powdered products to set. So if I'm going to use a cream bronzer, I'm setting with a powdered bronzer. And that way we get the longevity of the powders, but the beauty of the creams. And so is it high maintenance? Yeah. But do I do it? Yeah. And then this is the result. I mean, you can see on my face, like I have this radiance and this glow, but my makeup is locked in and isn't going anywhere. Soft glam. Okay, so let's talk about this. If you've been around a while and you have watched my YouTube journey, my old makeup videos where I would review products and the looks that I would create, they were crazy. Okay, they were colorful and, I used to pull out all the stops for my YouTube videos. And I didn't really wear those looks out. I mean, maybe on the weekends if I went out to the bars or something, I would. But I used to really do it up for my YouTube channel. And I did love a good glam look. But now my preferences have certainly changed in the area of eyeshadows. I prefer neutrals. Not that I haven't always loved neutrals. I've always been a neutral girl, but I did kind of go experiment more with color than I do now. I still do on occasion when a palette comes in and it's PR and I'm like, all right, let's have a little fun today. And I can review the palette for those people who are color lovers. But if I was not doing this as a job, and had to just choose a color story and that was it, it would 100% be neutrals. I prefer neutrals and a soft glam in that, I still might like a wing. I still like glittery shadows and like the look that I'm wearing right now is pretty much glam for me. And it is, I think, a soft glam. It's nothing over the top, but it's also not minimalist either. It's kind of that middle of the road place. But I also stopped using lashes, which is crazy because I used to feel like if I didn't have lashes on and I looked at myself in the mirror, I just didn't think I was pretty, or I didn't feel good about myself when I looked at myself in the mirror. And I was giving myself this weird complex that if I didn't have lashes on, then I wasn't pretty enough. And the only time I really wore the lashes was in my content, in my videos. You know, I would maybe wear them out for a girls' night out. But I just one day was like, what if I just didn't wear lashes anymore? And I found a really great mascara, actually a couple of really great mascaras. And I think being in Florida, or like more specifically West Bumfuck, Florida, where I don't go anywhere and I don't see a lot of people except for in my content, I just kind of was like, you know, I think I'm going to take a step back from lashes. I just didn't feel like picking glue out of them. I just got tired of that whole thing. And the longer I went without doing it, without putting lashes on, the more comfortable I got looking in the mirror. The more accepting I became of my own face without false lashes. And after I started to acclimate, I would look back at my YouTube videos and it was very cringy to me, where I'm like, I look almost draggy, you know, like drag with all those lashes. Like it looks crazy to me now to see. And it's so funny how our perception shifts, right? Because back then I was like, I couldn't imagine seeing like myself without them. Like I didn't like how I looked without them. But then like fast forward and I don't like how I look with them. So it's crazy. And I did a similar thing with nails. I just stopped wearing long nails. When I was going to the salon and getting, you know, acrylics and all of the things, I thought that if I didn't have those things, that my nails looked like stubs. Like I just looked like little boy hands. And the longer I went without them, the more normal it became for me and the more I got used to it. And now I look back at videos with long nails and it's cringy to me. I'm like, that does not look good. Why did I think that looked good? And it's a perception thing. Again, like I just got used to seeing myself in that way without lashes, without long nails. And for me, it's kind of like a self-love thing, like kind of a self-love journey. Like I was like, I want to learn to like what I see without the smoke and mirrors. And I'm not saying like without makeup or that I'm, you know, not going to wear makeup, because that's not probably going to happen. But when beauty starts to chip away at your self-esteem, I think there needs to be a pause and like maybe an analyzation of why. And that's what I did. I was like, why am I not accepting myself without lashes and false nails? Like, what? It, and so it was really good for me to take a step back. I have the Impress falsies, like that you stick underneath your lash. They've been sitting here for months. And they've been sitting here for me to review, and I just can't bring myself to do it. Like, I don't want to. It's my job. I have to, but I don't want to. So, yeah, no lashes, no nails. You know, I paint my nails myself, but, you know, I'm keeping them short, and just is what it is. So, what else is new? Well, you know, I've been on TikTok reviewing a lot of product, and I've fallen in love with some brands. And I don't really know kind of where we left off beauty wise. I don't really listen to the older episodes of this podcast because it's really difficult as a creator to go back and watch or listen to yourself. It's cringe. It's cringe. So I don't know where we were the last time I did a makeup monthly. But some brands that I just fell in love with over the past year and a half, definitely Sigma. Sigma is a huge one for me. Now, Sigma by no means is anything new. They were actually one of the first brands to give me PR back in like 2013 or 2014, when they just did brushes, not colored cosmetics. But now they are all into colored cosmetics, and specifically, that is what I'm in love with. Sigma brushes are fantastic, but right now, like, my obsession with Sigma is eyeshadows. Their under eye corrector is unreal. It's so good. Their blushes, their cream blushes. They came out with cream blushes last year, and oh my gosh, they're so good. And then the powdered blushes and the bronzers. I hope they come out with a cream bronzer next. I'm hoping that's coming from them. I would love to see that. And then also BK Beauty. BK Beauty brushes are excellent. And then they did an eyeshadow palette that was like, oh, it was okay. But they did come out with lipsticks. And like, I am actually wearing one of their lipsticks today. It's their Luxe lipstick in the shade Grace, and I love it. They just sent me backups, and now I have 2 backups, which I'm not mad about because I love it. It's one of my favorite lipsticks. And it's so crazy because I really was into matte lips because I just don't like to reapply. I like things to just sit, not liquid lipsticks, matte lipsticks. There's a difference. Comfort matte, you know, like from a bullet. But these are not that. They are more of like a creamy, it's like a lip balm with pigment, but more than a balm. It's like if a lipstick and a lip balm had a baby, but it's not so emollient that it slides around. It kind of wears like a matte lipstick, has a sheen, and hydrates like a balm. It's crazy. They're so good. They did expand their shade range last spring, and I think Grace is one of the new shades, and I just was like, yes, I'm in love with it. And they have travel bags now. They have the new set that they did a collaboration with Nikki LaRose. If you don't know who that is, she is a pro makeup artist, but also she has a YouTube channel, and she's very talented. And she did a collab with them. She made like a pro artist set. And I just actually tried it today, and it's as good as I thought it was going to be. It's excellent. Definitely geared towards artists rather than, and she did say, I think in her video, that she made them to try to bring artistry to like the everyday person. And while I do think she accomplished that, I definitely think the artist is going to appreciate these brushes more than just an enthusiast because of what they do and how versatile and they're some of them are very innovative, and it's just a great set. And when you look at it, you're like, okay, yeah, I mean, it's brushes, but they're more than just brushes, you know? They're very, very good. Products I've tried. Okay, so some foundations that I've tried and that I am loving in the last, I'm just going to say, year or so. The Laura Geller Baked Balance Brighten, that is like a powdered foundation, but it's not because it's baked. And it comes in a compact like a powder, but if you apply it, it applies like a regular foundation. So sometimes I will use it to underpaint. So I'll put my creams down and then I'll put the foundation on top of them all. Sometimes I put the foundation down and I put my creams on top of it. It's really, you can do that with this product because it's baked and it's so creamy, and it's a beautiful formula. Not one I would use on my glammest of days, but it's definitely a like out the door type of foundation, like a very no makeup type of a product. And I think it's great if you're over 40, really over 45, because let's be honest, 40 to 44 is not mature skin. I wish people would stop saying that when I see 40-year-old creators going, I have mature skin. And I'm like, no, you don't. And to be honest, I don't either. And I'm 48, which is why you'll never hear me say mature skin, like my mature skin. Because what mature skin to me is, it's a lot of volume loss, it's a lot of fine lines and wrinkles, it's a lot of texture, and it's a challenging canvas to apply makeup. And I don't think that my canvas is quite that challenging just yet. Is it, changing? Oh yeah, of course. Things are changing, but I don't think that I'm at the level of mature skin. And I think it's misleading. And when you see creators who are, over 40 and they are saying that they have mature skin, take it with a grain of salt, really. Now, are they going to have a better take on makeup than a 25-year-old? Probably yes. Yes. I would say listen to the 40-year-old over the 25-year-old if you are, over 40. But if you're in like 45 and up, like you really want to seek out creators who are over 45 because they're really going to give you the best tips. You can't have a 40-year-old say, with perfectly flawless skin, unless they've been to makeup school and specifically learned the art of mature beauty. Like, I don't think that they're really in a position to do something on their face and be like, see, you just do it like that, because it's just not reality for anybody over 45. But I digress. Laura Geller foundation is geared towards that mature skin type that is volume loss, texture, fine lines, and wrinkles. Lancome reformulated their Tient Idole, and I love it. I mean, it's so good. They reformulated the matte version, and then they came out with a glow version. And I actually just got the glow version a few weeks ago, and I've only used it a handful of times, but I've loved it every time. But it's like too soon for me to like say it's so good, go buy it type of a thing. But the matte one, which by the way isn't really matte, it's more skin-like than anything else. It's perfection. Every time I have it on in a video, I'm like, what was I wearing in that video? My skin looks so good. And it's always that one. It's crazy. But it's very good. And then I got really into their concealer, their Tient Idole concealer. Oh my God. If you are over 45, that concealer is your best friend. It is thin and skin-like, but it has coverage and it doesn't crease, it doesn't settle, it doesn't separate, it doesn't cake. It is a dream formula. And a lot of people were talking about Natasha Denona released a formula, House Labs released a formula, Mario released a formula, and I'm like, if it ain't broke. Like, this concealer looks excellent on me every time. Do I want to try the Natasha Denona concealer? Yeah, 100% I do. The others I don't really care for, like, either way. I've seen enough reviews to know I probably am not going to like those formulas. Natasha Denona, however, I think I'm going to like, but I don't know that it's going to be terribly different than the Lancome from what I can tell. I unfortunately live an hour from Sephora, so to touch and swatch and see is not something I do every day. Like, I have to go out of my way to go to a Sephora. So there's that. I also have been trying a lot of YSL. I don't know. I somehow got on their PR list. I don't know how it happened, but it has. And I've gotten some cool products. So they have a YSL New Bare Tint skin tint. Oh my God. Amazing. Like, so good. Now, I understand that YSL's price point is high. And I don't know specifically how much the skin tint is, but it's beautiful. It's like really beautiful. They have blushes too. The YSL New blushes. Those are beautiful. They have mini couture eyeshadow palettes that I really like. And, I feel like I'm getting more into quads lately. It's so weird because it used to be like I needed a sweet spot. I needed like palettes that had like 12 shadows in them. I didn't want them too big. Like 20 is pushing it, maybe too big for me. But 4 was always just too little. Like, I like options. But I don't know what it is. Like, I'm kind of having a new appreciation for an eyeshadow quad lately. Is it old age? I don't know, maybe. I notice that the older I get, I see my preferences changing and changing and changing. So interesting. But YSL products are amazing. And I tried their Liquid Rosy. It's like a lipstick, like a whipped lipstick in a tube, but it doesn't dry down to like a liquid lip, but it's like a moussey whipped kind of texture, but it's also a blush. So you can wear it on the lips and on the cheeks, but on the cheeks, I don't want to say it dries down, but it like doesn't move. It's a liquid with like a powdery finish, and it's gorgeous. Like when I saw these, I do makeup monthlies every Monday on TikTok where I go over all the new makeup releases. And so when I saw those, I was like, I mean, it's nothing new. Oh, how innovative. It's a lip and cheek product. But no, it's really nice. I got it in PR and I tried it and was like, oh, well, shit. I just ate my words. This thing is awesome. I have one shade and it's beautiful. Oh, and I fell in love with their fragrances. Black Opium, Libre, and I have another one of theirs. La Vie Belle, I think. La Vie Belle, does that sound right? It's the one with Julia Roberts in the commercial. You know what I'm talking about. That one. I have all of those. I have 3 different versions of Libre. I love them all. YSL is my favorite fragrance brand. Period. The end. Or done. Like, if I could only choose one brand to get fragrances from. And then they released a Black Opium Cherry. I think it's over red, it's actually called, but it's cherry. And I think that they were going for the Tom Ford cherry vibe. I've heard a lot of great reviews and I'm so intrigued. I definitely want to try it, but I have not yet. Recently, I tried Estee Lauder Double Wear Sheer, not the original. Was very disappointed in the wear time on that. It's supposed to be 12-hour wear time. It's not. It's not. Finish, gorgeous, glowy, beautiful. But the wear is very disappointing for $53. And let me tell you, it's comparable to the foundation that's on my face right now. I have on a CoverGirl foundation, you guys. And it is the Simply Ageless Skin Perfector. It is a dupe for the Chanel foundation that has all of the beads in it. It is gorgeous. And it also has bacachul oil in it. So it's supposed to like improve your skin, you know, because bacachul is like a plant-based retinol that isn't affected by the sun. So you can use it during the day. And the finish and the wear on this, like it's so skin-like, it's so glowy and radiant and beautiful. And it's funny because when I got this, I was like, you're asking how much for this now? $20. $20 for CoverGirl foundation in the drugstore. Like, have you fallen and bumped your head? I was horrified. I was like, on what planet are we paying $20 for a drugstore foundation? I get that L'Oreal has climbed and gone there, but L'Oreal is also pumping out Lancome, you know? L'Oreal has like high-end formulas that they're putting at the drugstore. CoverGirl? Not so much. It's very hit or miss for me with them. Like, there are some products I'm like, yeah, very good. And some products that I'm like, wow, like, no. But this foundation, it might be top 5 of 2024 right now. Yeah, no, it definitely is. It definitely is. It's in the top 5 of 2024. I know we're in February. I understand this. But it is in the top 5. Which brings me to the Estee Lauder Futurist Skin Tint. You guys, when I tell you it was horrific, it was horrific. It sat on top of my skin and just looked patchy, and I haven't used a foundation that bad in a hot minute. And it's funny because people I know were saying it was a really good foundation. And I'm like, I'm questioning your credibility as a creator right now that you are actually recommending this trash to people, because I don't care what your skin type is. Because sometimes with foundations, it's a skin type issue, right? Where you're like, okay, well, I have normal to dry skin, so maybe somebody oily would want this. No, it had nothing to do with the skin type. It is the actual texture and consistency and the way it sits on the skin. So, like, it was not really a chance. Like, okay, here's an example. If you mixed oil and water, you know how it would like separate? That's what the foundation does on skin. It doesn't sit and it's like patchy in spots. It's like spotty. I was horrified. I was like, what is even happening? Like, people were saying this was good. So if you see somebody say that it's a good foundation, question their credibility. What else? Stick makeup. You guys, I'm so into stick makeup right now. It's crazy. Like Milk makeup, for a long time, I was like, you know, okay, they're makeup sticks. Like, they didn't really excite me. Now I am so excited for makeup sticks. And you know something? I'm going to tell you this. Something you think you don't like right now, just wait. Because if you told me I would be super into makeup sticks, if you told me that like a year or two ago, I'd be like, yeah, okay. But no, I am very into them. Nude sticks. Yep. Nude sticks and Milk makeup. And I have tried now from Milk the contour stick, the bronzer, and the blush. And I have the highlight on my wish list. I will say that because it's a stick with a screw up component, my contour stopped working because I can't twist it up and I can't get the product out. And I even tried taking it apart and I don't know what I'm going to do about it. So Milk, if you want to send me a new contour stick, because that one's really brand new and the shade is Toasted. Okay, thanks. Nude Sticks sent me some minis over the holidays of their bronzer, their blush, and their highlight. You guys, the highlight. It's like an over 40-year-old person's highlight dreams. Okay. It is cream, but not so emollient that you can't apply it right over powder. It applies over powder. And it's not so dense that it's like really hard to blend with your finger. Blends beautifully with the finger. And you could also blend it with a sponge or a brush or whatever else. It's not chunky or super metallic, but it's also not just a sheen of like skin like. It has kind of that. I have it on right now. So if you're on YouTube, like you can see it's gorgeous. And I have it on both of my cheekbones. That's the only place that I have it, but I'm obsessed with Nude Sticks right now. Their blush and their bronzer was beautiful too. Now, again, I only have minis right now. The highlighter is coming to me in a full size though. So I'm kind of excited for that. And that highlighter is top drawer for sure. And the Milk products are top drawer also. What else? Danessa Myricks. Okay. So Danessa Myricks launched a foundation. She called it the Yummy Skin Foundation. That was one of her first products, I think, or her first maybe complexion product. I don't know. The way I hated it, the way it was like the worst formula, it was like maybe worse than the Estee Lauder Futurist, but it's definitely in that league of bad. Like I was horrified how I returned it. I bought it and returned it because I was like, this is terrible. For me, for my skin type. That one wasn't just a bad formula. It was just bad for my skin type. Whereas like the Estee Lauder is just a bad formula. But I hated it. And I had tried a few things from her brand and I wasn't impressed. I didn't like anything coming out of her brand. And like everyone's like, oh, she's so innovative and her products are so good. And I'm like, why am I not seeing it? But then she came out with her Yummy Skin Balm powder formula. And so what it is it's a compact. It's like a cream to powder situation. And she has one that's for the skin, and it blurs the skin, and you can use it as a primer, or you could use it as like a light no makeup situation. It comes in a clear, like a universal shade, and then it comes in like skin tone shades. And I still haven't tried that one because after the trauma from the Yummy Skin foundation, I was like, I'm not going to like it. I just had this conceived judgment that I was like, it's going to suck. But then she came out with Yummy Skin Balm Powder Blushes. And I was like, yeah, I mean, in the colors, the shades, beautiful. And I was like, okay. And I started to kind of get more intrigued. And then I saw people using them, and I'm like, okay, fine. And then I got one. I think I got the shade Rose and Brunch, it's called. Wow. Wow. Like, wow. She is innovative. This formula is unbelievable. It has some kind of technology that blurs the skin, and it creates like this soft focus effect on the skin. I have it on right now, and it's so beautiful. The formula is, if you have any kind of wrinkles or texture, and you're like looking for a blush that's going to wear well on you, despite that, maybe you have fine lines and wrinkles, maybe you have large pores, this blush, thank me later. So now is opened up my eyes to what I could be missing at Danessa Myricks Beauty. And now I have a laundry list of things I need to try because, I'm very intrigued now, because that blush is maybe one of the best blush formulas I've ever tried, honestly. Then I tried an indie brand. And listen, I love a good indie brand, okay? This brand, they're called Finding Ferdinand, okay? They did a collaboration with a friend of mine last spring. Her name is Khaki. She's on YouTube, Hey Khaki, or Khaki Reviews Makeup or something like that. Reviews Beauty. I forgot what her channel is. But everybody knows Khaki, okay? She created this blush like collection last spring, and it was inspired by Italy, and it was called Summer Abroad, and it was just genius. It was so well thought out. It was 2 tones of blush, or 2 shades of blush in 3 different tones. So she had a beige and she had a coral, and she made a light one, a medium one, and a deep one for all different skin tones, and you could mix and match and layer. Well, it sold out. It was a huge hit. That was my first introduction to the brand Finding Ferdinand. Now, what I learned about this brand, it's woman-owned. They're out of New York. They do everything in-house, and they do not include over 2,800 ingredients, chemical ingredients in their products. They test their products on hormones they test their products to make sure that they do not disrupt women's hormones. Find me another brand who does that, because I want to give them all my money. Like, that makes me want to support the shit out of you as a brand. You're testing to make sure your products don't fuck with my hormones. You have a mission. Like, that tells me that the brand cares so deeply about what they're doing that they're not just pumping out product for sales. There's meaning behind what they're doing. And I live for it. Now, Khaki just had a collaboration again with them, and this was a winter collection. This one was called Après Ski, and it was inspired by skiing in Switzerland. You're out in the cold, and what your cheeks look like when they're frozen, when you have like snow burn on your face. This collection was 3 blushes it was like a berry kind of tone. She did it in 3 tones. Again, a light, a medium, a deep. But then she came out with this formula that had never been done by this brand, or really anybody I've ever seen. And she called them blush toppers. And what they are is blush without a lot of base pigment. And so what they do is they just change the shade, whether they deepen it or they warm it up, of whatever blush you have on. It's so cool. So like, let's say one of them is called Chilled, and it's like a deep burgundy in the pan, right? So it looks a little scary. Here, I think I have it. So if my YouTube peeps can take a look. It's very deep. It's so deep. But it doesn't have a lot of base pigment. So when you apply it, it just makes the whatever blush you have on, it deepens it up a little bit. And then there's one called Cozy, I think. And that one is a little bit more leaning towards the berry red side. And that one will just brighten it up and make it look a little bit more on the berry red side. But because they don't have base pigment, you can put them on top of anything and it's not too much. You can't overdo it. They're so cool. And what I like about this particular formula that is different from her first collection is the Finding Ferdinand formulas are very emollient. You can't apply them over powders or it's going to break up whatever you put it on top of because it has a coconut oil base to it. I guess when she sent out PR last time, people in warmer climates had issues that theirs melted. Mine did melt, but not like I just put them in the freezer and got them like back to solid before I opened them. But I think some people had trouble because they melted everywhere. So what they wanted to do is make a more shelf-stable formula, and that's what they did. And because of that, these can be applied right on top of powders, and that's a dream for me. If my blush can't be applied on top of powders, I don't want it. And the reason is because sometimes I forget. Sometimes I'm doing my makeup and I'm like thinking about something else and I forget to put on my cream blush before I set the center of my face with powder and I'm like, shit. And then you know that you're running the risk because if you put on the blush, then you could ruin everything. So I love a formula that I don't have to worry about that. And Milani Cheek Kiss is one of those formulas. And the Danessa Myricks is one of those formulas. And this Finding Ferdinand is one of those formulas. And another great thing about Finding Ferdinand is you can go on their website. They have a color wheel there. You can pick whatever color you want. Like you can create a shade. It's like the spectrum of digital color. And you just, you can go around the wheel and just like adjust the color. Maybe you want more red or pink or whatever. You can pick like whatever shade you want. You can name it and you get your custom shade is coming in a frosted glass little container. And it has your name on the bottom, like the name of the blush that you gave it. And it's like your own personalized blush that isn't going to disrupt your hormones. I love it. I love it. I think it's genius. Speaking of Milani Cheek Kiss, okay, one of my favorite, not one of, it is my favorite drugstore cream blush, bar none. It's like a high-end formula. Like it is not drugstore. You know what I'm saying? Such a good blush. And it was like my favorite. It still is my favorite. It's still sitting in my top drawer. And it's been like 2 years. I know I've talked about it here in this podcast because I've loved it that long. And they finally came out with a bronzer. And I feel like I've been waiting my whole life for that. And I love it. And it's such a beautiful formula. And I knew it would be. And I highly recommend. It's so creamy. It applies so beautifully. And it's, if you're on a budget and you're looking for like a good drugstore cream bronzer, like, yes, 10 out of 10. Some products I rediscovered. MAC bronzer. Who remembers refined golden? Old school. I mean, old school. And the one I have is really old also, but I kind of rediscovered it. I love going through my stash, shopping around, seeing what I haven't pulled out in a while. And I do have different series on my TikTok where I do that, my revisit old products. But I've really just been enjoying that bronzer lately. It's so perfect. They were so ahead of their time, MAC, like old school MAC. Now I feel like MAC is confused as to who they are. But back in the day, I mean, MAC was everything, right? Let's see. Brands that are on my lust list. Well, we already talked about Danessa Myricks, right? Now I'm like really intrigued to explore more from her brand. But Patrick Ta. So Patrick Ta is a brand that I haven't tried a ton from. The only things that I've tried, actually, there's only one. The only thing I've tried from Patrick Ta is his very first eyeshadow palette that he came out with, What was innovative about that palette was that it had 2 creams in it. He started kind of bringing micro glitter to the forefront, but he was doing it at a time where I wanted base pigment, shimmer, like metallic. I wanted foiled. I wanted pop up, like see it from space. And now I'm such a micro glitter junkie. And it's funny because I liked the palette, but it wasn't wowing me. There's something off about it. And it was $70 and I returned it. Do I regret it to this day? Yes. Yes, I do. Although there have been rumors that the creams in his eyeshadows, or maybe the whole eyeshadows as a whole, have been like growing mold in them. I've never seen that with my own eyes, and I don't know anyone else who has. And you know how the internet and the social media are, like one person has something happen and like then it's like a let's cancel this brand type of a thing. So like I don't know if I'm buying into it, but I do know that at the time I wasn't wowed by the formula. But as we know, my preferences have changed. So, you know, I definitely want to give it another try. I think his Major Dimension 2, the second palette, is kind of what I should be going for, and I'm kind of intrigued to try it. But also his cream or his bronzer and blush palettes, they come with a powder and a cream. I'm very interested to try those. And I may have gotten contacted by Patrick Cha team, so I may have some coming to me. Fingers crossed. Like, I don't know like how I got on their PR or on their radar, but I'm excited about it and I'm very intrigued to explore this brand. And then Rare Beauty. It's so crazy. I've tried one product from Rare Beauty and it was a lipstick. That's it. Like I have not gotten to explore this brand. I want the bronzer, I want the blush, I want the highlight. Like I want to try Rare Beauty. So they are definitely on my radar, my lust list as of now. Trying to think about if there's any other beauty news. Ipsy and Boxycharm merged. I mean, I feel like we all know that by now, right? It happened a while ago now, but kind of a bizarre thing that they merged. I think Ipsy was just like, let's take out our competition. It's way better now, though. Ipsy was sucking, let's be honest. Ipsy was like a snooze fest. And now with the Boxycharm, and then they have an icon box every quarter. The last one was curated by Gwen Stefani. The icon boxes are the only things worth it. If you're getting the Ipsy Glam bag with the 10 or the 5 like deluxe samples, like that's a waste of money. Don't do it. If you're getting the Boxycharm, it's a roll of the dice. Some months it's good, some months it's terrible. But the icon boxes are always good. Like I just got a Dominique Cosmetics eyeshadow palette that I'm like wearing on my eyes now. It's stunning. I got a Give Beauty lipstick. Oh, that's another thing. Gwen Stefani launched her brand, Give Beauty. I tried a lipstick and her matte formula is amazing. It's amazing. Her shades are a little off for me. They're not my favorite. But if she were to expand into like a more nude kind of color story, I'd be all over that shit because that formula is a really good matte formula. That's like really all I've tried from her. But yeah, I've gotten quite a few good things from the icon box. I think Anastasia Beverly Hills curated one month. I'm trying to think who else. There's been like a few since they had their merger. I want to say it was like a year ago, maybe. I'm not really sure. Time is a blur, you guys. It's a blur. But I'm glad to be back doing makeup monthlies with you guys. Let me know like where you want this to go. Like how are you feeling about just recaps, recaps on what's going on in makeup and beauty and what I'm feeling, what I'm trying, what I'm loving. I kind of wanted to do an overview since I haven't sat down and done one of these in a while with you. So just kind of giving you where I'm at with my preferences and brands that I'm kind of leaning into. Suddenly, I'm into luxury makeup. I don't know who I am, but I guess I am now. YSL and Lancome have my heart, and I'm into stick makeup, and I don't do lashes, and I'm not doing nails. And I don't know who am I? I'm having like a makeup identity crisis. But you know something? I'm kind of embracing it, and I'm kind of loving it. And when I look at my makeup now, I think it's so much better than it was before. And maybe I'll look back in 2 years from now and have the same feeling at my makeup now, as it compares to in 2 years from now. I don't know. But I feel pretty happy with what I want in my makeup and what I love about makeup, and I'm just enjoying it. And also too, I haven't said this to you guys yet, but I started doing one-on-ones. So if you don't know, I'm certified as a makeup artist, and I was seeing on TikTok a lot of people, especially over 40, over 40 moms, and then over 45 women struggling with makeup. A lot of Gen X. Like Gen X, really, we didn't grow up with YouTube. We didn't grow up with learning how to do makeup on the internet. We didn't have that. That wasn't a thing. So I'm seeing a lot of Gen X kind of struggling with makeup technique. They don't really know the proper way to apply, especially as you get older, things have to change. So whatever Gen X was doing before isn't working for them now. And a lot of people are struggling. And I saw a need for makeup lessons. Like people need help. And, I provide a lot of this on my content, but I started opening it up to one-on-ones where I can really dive in deep and sit down with people and go over what products they're using, looking at their face shape, showing them how to, contour if they need to, going through their collection, making sure the products they use are right for them, and making sure that they have the right brushes and tools and just all of those things. So I'm doing that now. I have my Calendly is in my link tree on all my socials. So if you ever did want to book a one-on-one with me, you can go ahead and do it there, because my schedule is there and all of that. And I'm having so much fun doing it, you guys. It's so rewarding. Like I was sitting on with somebody the other day, and the way her face lit up when we were done and her makeup was on, and she was just like, I can't believe it. Like she felt pretty, she felt good about herself, she was glowing. And for me, it was so rewarding because I feel like we all deserve that. We all deserve to put on our makeup and feel good. Like makeup shouldn't be a pain point. It should be a tool to uplift and make you feel confident and your best self. So if I can bring that to anyone, I love it. It makes me happy. So anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I am so glad to be back and talking about makeup with you guys. And leave all the comments and questions and everything on the YouTube. If you're listening on iTunes or Spotify or iHeartRadio or any of those platforms, head over to YouTube. It's youtube.com/Glam Latte. And you can leave comments and we can chat about the episodes, which makes me so happy. So thank you so much for hanging out, and I will see you in the next one.